In this video, I'm going to be jumping back into an edit that I made a few months ago to show you exactly how it was done. We're talking about music choice, sound effects, color grading, transitions, everything. It's coming up. Hey everyone, Steve here from Learn Online Video. Today I'm going to be breaking down a sequence from my 10 smartphone gimbal moves video. If you haven't seen that yet, be sure to check that out. I'll put a link to that in the description below. This has been by far my most requested video. I've essentially been bullied into making this one, so I want to pack it full of information so that you can apply these same techniques to your videos. So let's jump into the edit and I'll show you how it was done. Okay, so here we are in Final Cut Pro X. As you can see, I've got my fully edited video on my timeline. But look, let's quickly just remind ourselves of this sequence. We'll watch it once more. It's only 40 seconds long, and then we'll dive deep into the edit. We'll go through it shot for shot, talk about the transitions, color grading, music, and sound effects. So that sequence was made up of just 11 different shots, all shot on a gimbal. If you'd like to learn how to shoot footage just like this, then I have plenty of videos on my channel dedicated to cinematic gimbal movement. I will link those in the description below. Now, a really important part of this process is finding the right music to edit your footage to, because music can make or break your video. Now, my go-to place for music is Epidemic Sound. What I love about Epidemic Sound is not only do they have great music, but it's really easy to use their website. So they've got everything in albums. You can search by genre, you can search by mood. Also, massive bonus, they have a huge sound effects library. So not only do I get all of my music from Epidemic Sound, but also my sound effects. Now, the song I ended up choosing for this sequence is called For the Record. Look, just take a quick listen to this.
For the record, don't try and make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying.
Now, I love that song, but for this sequence in particular, I really just wanted an instrumental track, and this is what I love about Epidemic Sound. So the beauty of using Epidemic Sound is not only do they give you access to the full track, but they also offer stems. Stems are basically the track broken down into individual pieces. So for example, if I just wanted the drums from this track, I could just select this one. Or maybe I just want the bass. So this really allows you to make a track your own, really make it unique. You can just use the bass, you can drop the melody, you could drop the instrumental, you could do whatever you like with this track and completely edit it and make it sound really quite different to the full mix. So that's what I wanted to do with this, was just make something a little bit more unique. Now, if you'd like to edit with this track or any other track from Epidemic Sound, then they have a free 30-day trial. I'll put a link to that in the description below. Now, let's just start at the beginning of the sequence and have a look at the layers that we have here. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 8 layers here, but this is a relatively simplistic edit. There's not too much going on here, but let's just talk about the different layers so you understand what's happening where. So this layer here that I've highlighted, these are my cinematic bars. These are the black bars that you can see on the top and the bottom of the screen. I add these on some of my sequences just to make it feel a little bit more cinematic. It just gives you that cinematic aspect ratio. So the cinematic bars animate in at the beginning of this sequence. Just let's watch this one more time. So a lot of questions asking how I did that. So look, let's just reduce this down to 25% so you can get a better look of what's going on here. So look, here's what I did. So I started at the beginning, I highlighted this cinematic bar graphic and I scaled it up. I scaled it up so that I could no longer see it in the shot. Then I came over here to my video inspector and I added a keyframe under position and scale. Then skimmed forward about 2 seconds into the clip and I reduced the scale of that graphic so that it was just how I wanted it, with the cinematic bars on the top and the bottom. And then what that did is it automatically added another keyframe for scale and position. So when you play that back, the video starts with the cinematic bars scaled up so you can't see them, and then within about 2 seconds they scale down to be revealed at the start of the sequence. Okay, now the next thing you may notice about this opening shot is not only do the cinematic bars animate in, but then on wipes the color grade. So here's how I did that. This is the original clip. So what I did was duplicate this layer. So I had 2 shots exactly the same on top of each other. Then I color graded the bottom one, so that's this one here. So we've got a version underneath which is color graded, a version on top which isn't. I then snipped the top one in half and added this wipe. Now this wipe comes with Final Cut Pro if you're ever in doubt about how to find an effect. So this is a transition. Select transitions, come down to the search bar at the bottom, just type in what you're looking for. Straight away, just here, as you can see, this is the wipe effect that I used to wipe on the color grade. Now, all of the footage in this sequence was color graded using my new smartphone LUT pack. I'll put a link to that in the description below. This is just a really easy way to color grade your footage. So I added one of my LUTs to this adjustment layer right here. I will talk about adjustment layers more in this video. So there's quite a bit going on in that first few seconds. We've got the music, we've got the color grade wiping in, we've animated in the cinematic bars, but I just thought this was a good way to grab people's attention and make the first few seconds of this sequence much more exciting. As well as this wipe, to complement that, I also added this whoosh sound effect. Again, I got this whoosh sound effect from Epidemic Sound. Now let's just play this again. Listen out for that whoosh sound effect as the color grade wipes in. Like that. Now it's those little details that make a big difference with a sequence like this. It would still look great if you just wiped in the color grade, but just adding that whoosh sound effect to go with it just takes it to the next level. Now not only do I have my music track down here, but also I just added a wind sound effect. I just felt that this opening shot needed a little bit more than just the music during the first few seconds. Okay, the next shot in this sequence. Let's just highlight it. Let's reduce the size of this a little bit so we can see what's going on. Now, what you'll see here, I haven't really done much to this shot at all. The shot, in my opinion, is good as it is, and this is why I put it here. This is one of my favorite shots. If you've been subscribed to this channel for a while, you'll know that I'm a big fan of the crane shot. This is just a handheld crane shot, so I didn't really feel like this shot needed much more. But what I did do, as you can see, is just scale the video up. So we've got this crane shot lifting up, this camera movement lifting up, but now I've also added, I've slightly repositioned and reframed this shot as well. I guess I wasn't quite happy with the composition of how it ended. So I've just animated a slight zoom and I've slightly reframed that shot. So not too much going on there, relatively straightforward. That's shot number 2. Let's keep playing. Okay, I got a few questions about this as well. So we've gone from our push forward shot into a crane shot with a zoom, and then we've come into this shot here. Now this shot here is a push forward tilt up. That's how I shot this. Like I say, if you want to see exactly how I shot this footage, I've got an entire tutorial showing you how I did it. So this camera pushes forward, it tilts up, and then what I've done here is I've added my epic zoom transition. Now this is my epic zoom transition. You can see it just over here. What that does is it just zooms in from one shot to another. So if you combine this with a push forward shot and another push forward shot, it can really take those 2 shots to the next level and just sort of perfectly link them together. Let's just delete this transition and show you what these 2 shots would look like without it. So still pretty good. I mean, you've got the camera movement going up and then it cuts to this push forward shot moving really quickly. So the 2 clips cut well, but just adding that epic zoom transition just takes it to the next level. Now let's watch it once more with the epic zoom transition. Yeah, it's subtle, but it makes a big difference. Okay, moving on. Now, I used it again there. I probably overdid it, but I got a bit excited because I thought the first one looked cool. The key to these transitions is just not to overdo it. So do as I say, not as I do. But yeah, I did put another epic zoom transition literally in the next clip. Now, notice there how I came in on that beat. So let's just go back again. We've got this push forward shot into an epic zoom transition, into another push forward, into another epic zoom transition, into this push forward shot through this tree, which doesn't really need anything else. I didn't do anything else to this clip. I thought that shot was good enough exactly the way it was. But then what I did do here is I made sure I cut on this big beat coming up just down here, you can see. So look, let's just play it again. Bosh, straight on that cut. Now, I wouldn't say edit on every single beat, every single cut, because then it becomes predictable. But with a big beat like that, I just felt like I needed to cut on that beat. Now let's just select this clip again and reduce what we can see up here. And as you can see, I haven't done a lot to this clip, but I do slightly reframe it. I've just keyframed a bit of movement just so that when the clip gets to the end frame, it's perfectly framed. So as you can probably tell, it looks as though it was probably about there originally, and as you can see, it's just cutting off the top of the church. And that is why these cinematic bars come in really useful. So I can readjust my shot just slightly to reframe it so I can see the church, so it ends on really nice composition. Without animating that movement, the end frame wouldn't have been as well composed as what it is now. Okay, moving on. Now, out of all of these shots, this shot in particular probably had the most questions. The main question being, did you add the vertigo effect? And the answer is yes. So well done. If any of you spotted that I'd added the vertigo effect to this shot, really well done. Now let me just reduce this again and show you what we're doing here. So the shot starts out here, and what I've done is I've scaled this shot up. Now, because this is a push forward shot, what I've done is, as this camera is pushing forward, I've scaled down the clip to its original size. And when you combine this push forward camera movement with a video clip that starts scaled and then scales down to its original size, you get what they call the vertigo effect. So let's just watch this again. Now just pay close attention to the way in which the foreground and the background is moving. Kind of like the background is moving away whilst the camera is moving forward. Not quite sure what's going on there, but it just looks a little bit different. It looks a little bit more interesting, and that's always my aim with a sequence like this, is how can you take what is a pretty good shot, you know, it is interesting without any kind of effect added to it, but how can we take it to the next level? How can we make it just that little bit more interesting? Really simple shot, that one there. That was just a slide camera movement from left to right. Let's just reduce and take a look at what's happening here. Oh, and what I've done here, look, is I've actually reduced the scale again. So this doesn't quite create the vertigo effect, but it just adds two, what appears to be two camera movements in one. So we've got this slide effect going from left to right, but we've also got what looks like a zoom. So it looks as though we're also just zooming out of the shot as well as sliding. This shot here, let's watch that once more. That is a speed ramp. So look, let's just punch in and take a look at this. So we start this clip at 50% speed. Then right here, we speed it up to 200%, and then we bring it back down to 50%. So that's a speed ramp. We've changed the speed of that clip. We've gone from 50% straight up to 200%, back down to 50%. What I also did to complement that was add a whoosh sound effect with that speed ramp. Let's just watch that once more. Just like that. Again, it's subtle. You know something's happened to that shot. Maybe you're not quite sure what. That's just a speed ramp. It just makes it a little bit more interesting. That shot there didn't do anything to that one whatsoever. That is exactly as it was shot in camera. I just didn't think it needed it. Okay, let's just take a quick look at that last shot. This last shot here, as I mentioned, look, this is a pull back shot, so this suggests that the scene is ending. That's why I added this shot here. Then you may have noticed right at the end of this shot, again, I didn't add anything to that, by the way, that's just how it was shot in camera. No effects, no camera movement, no keyframes, nothing like that on that shot. But right at the end here, did you notice it kind of glitched out? Just like that. And I do that quite a bit in my videos actually. I also get quite a few questions about how I do that, and that's really, really easy in Final Cut Pro. All I've done is I've chopped with the blade tool the last few frames of that clip, just like that. There we go. And then what I did over in my effects tab over here, if we just type in TV, what you'll find under effects is the bad TV effect. There we go, let's see. I just dragged that onto the last few frames of that clip, and that adds a bad TV effect or a glitch effect. And again, to complement that, I added a glitch sound effect underneath. So you've got the visuals, you've got the audio, and I also edited that song that I got from Epidemic Sound. And I cut the end of the song off, and I reduced that song down to whatever the duration of this video is, 42 seconds. So the end of the song is at the end of this sequence. I'll maybe do a tutorial on editing music and really delve deep into how you can specifically edit music or take a long song and reduce it down to a short song for the purposes of editing. But let's just watch the end of this once more. And I just think it's worth going that extra mile when it comes to ending any kind of sequence. If you can end your sequence at the end of the song, regardless of whether that's been edited or shortened, it just makes it better. It takes it to the next level. It just shows that you've put that extra bit of effort into editing your footage. So there you have it. That is how you edit a sequence just like that. If you found this video useful and you'd like me to do more editing tutorials just like this, do let me know in the comments section below. And as always, if you found it useful, give it the old thumbs up. And if you'd like to watch more content like this, learn more about video production, you can do that by watching one of my other videos just over there. But that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.